Hi everybody, how are you guys doing today? I'm so excited to be here with you. Today is Sunday and it is the full moon in Pisces, which is really exciting. Let me make sure that I am able to see comments. Hey, send me a wave, let me know that you're here. I'm also going to pop onto my computer and make sure everything looks okay on this end. Hi everyone! How are you guys doing today? So today we're going to be talking about 3 easy steps to magic and miracles. And to some degree, I think that it's going to feel like, really? That's it? And it's going to seem, I can see my comments on the computer, but not here. Let's see. Let's see if I can. I don't know why I can't see comments. Hi, everybody. Yeah, it is a full moon in Pisces, Christy. Hi, everyone. Oh my goodness. You guys are just so amazing. Yeah, okay. So I think to some degree, this is going to feel somewhat simplistic, but I have really been feeling into these 3 steps for a while, and I really think that although it seems pretty simplistic, it's actually very real and very doable. And so I'm curious, put in the chat down below, let me know like what you're manifesting. What miracle or magic are you working on? And I know we haven't really talked about spell casting, and I definitely, when I started this group, I had a bit of an interest in maybe doing some videos or something like that on spell casting, and I'm curious if any of you guys are interested in that as well. And you can use this for your spells. If you're planning on doing spells, you can use these 3 steps. And I really do believe that it's really just this simplistic, these 3 easy steps. Oh goodness, Christy, you're having surgery coming up. Wow. Well, sending you so much love and so much positive vibes. Hi, Sid. Hi, Amber. Hi, Paige. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's go over the 3 steps that I think really do help us create anything that we want. Amber says, I'm manifesting self-love and connection with my spirit guides. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that so much, Amber. I love that. So I'm manifesting moving to San Diego. I'm still not sure what my timeline is, and I'm being very patient because I know that there's a few things that have to happen that I'm not fully in control of before I can go. So I'm definitely just being patient, and even if it takes me 6 months or so, I know that that's perfectly fine. Okay, so let's talk about step 1. Please feel free to keep putting what you're manifesting down in the comments. So step 1 of this process is setting an intention. And I've done some really cool things with intentions. I've done some experimenting with intentions, and you know, they really help us stay centered. They help us stay focused on the thing that we're looking for. And they also put a vibration into like an energy vibration into the universe, that the universe then knows exactly what we're looking for and what we're working on, right? Sid says, I'm manifesting joy and motivation as I'm starting school next week. Yay! That's so exciting. I love that. Joy and motivation. Awesome. Sid, this intentions thing is huge, right? Like in terms of the motivation piece, I think that setting an intention helps us keep focused on that one thing. So if you think about, have you guys, here's been an experience for me. Like I've walked into a room that I've decided, you know, I'm going to clean my office today. And I walk in and it's just so overwhelming, right? So I've set a big intention. I'm going to clean my office, and I walk in and I'm like, oh no, oh, I don't even know where to start, right? And then it just feels super overwhelming. So really narrowing down that intention, like, okay, I am going to clean off my filing cabinet. I'm going to clean that area first. So as I start working, as I start setting these smaller little intentions, I'm able to really focus in on what I want to do and what I want to do next. And it helps me kind of come up with this like step-by-step guide. Sid and I made moon water last night and set intentions in the water. I love that. And so I love this as an example because we set intentions into the water, into the moon water. I'm going to put some out today, and I'm going to put my crystals out too. You set those intentions into the water, and for example, if you did self-love into your water and you're drinking that, you know, throughout the next week or so, every time you drink that water, you feel this sense of self-love. It's this reminder, it's this energy that's already put into and programmed into that water for you. So I love that. Thank you so much, Amber. Are there any other areas where you guys are setting intentions? And then I want to start by saying, you know, like, I feel like a lot of times we only set intentions for big things, right? We might set one intention a week, or maybe even less than that. We may even have goals, but we forget to set intentions around those goals. And so something that I have had a lot of fun with is working on setting intentions on a very regular basis, right? And so instead of even a daily intention, which a daily intention is super good and super powerful too, but kind of like that example that I gave about cleaning the office, like taking and setting an intention for every little task that you're going to be doing, right? So what I think that this does is really help us stay present. What do we want to achieve when we make this phone call? What do we want to achieve when we send out this email? A lot of times we're just sending out an email, we're just responding. But what if we sit down and we think, okay, in this email, I want to convey this message, and I want to make the recipient feel X, Y, or Z. So it becomes much more powerful, and you become much more present in each and every moment as you're setting these intentions. So let me check my notes. I wrote down like a few little things. So one of the things that I found when I started like setting intentions multiple times throughout the day, and anytime like I switch tasks, right, I switch what I'm doing, is it helps keep me on track. It helps keep me focused, and it also helps me like really sit back and think like, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? What am I hoping to achieve by doing this task? Maybe I might even decide like, that's not worth it. Like that's not what I wanted to do today. Like I wanted to do X today. Maybe I wanted to clean my entire house today. And so then when I set an intention to read a book or watch a movie, I'm like, well, you know, that's not really helping me with my daily intention. So let's take a 10-minute break, but then let's go back to doing the things that are going to move the needle in the area that I'm looking at. Setting intentions change how you show up. So kind of like the example of the email that I gave, when you set an intention to make someone feel warm and cared for and loved, you're going to word your email in a different way than if you're just responding, right? And so it could really help us show up in a different way depending on what that intention is. So it really helps remind us how we want to show up every day. Okay, so that's the first step, intention. And then the second step is action. So I'm going to use your moon water as an example, Amber. So the intention, I'm just going to say self-love. So the intention may be put into the moon water of self-love. And then the water is filled up. The water is placed into the moon to absorb the moon's energy. And so this is an action, right? This is an action to bring about the self-love. And so what I love about the moon water is this is kind of the example when it comes to like spell casting or something like that, is like setting the intention, making an action. these actions would be spiritually aligned. And the reason for that is because they're backed by intention, right? So these actions help move the needle towards what you're trying to achieve, whether that achievement is to show up in a different way, like to be motivated, or if it's something more physical, like not turning in a late assignment all semester, right? So one is, I'm going to show up in this motivated way. I'm going to call about motivation, which is an energy, or I'm going to turn in all of my assignments on time, right? So it works for no matter what. This intention and then this action can work for absolutely anything. Let me know if any of this is making sense, guys. Thanks for the heart, Sid. So yeah, action is already being inspired by intention, and so that's one of the prerequisites here that we need. And there's no right or wrong action. So when I'm talking to a client about what they're wanting to achieve, right? Because as a coach, for those of you who haven't ever worked with coaches, as a coach, it is our objective to help you reach your goals. So we are very concentrated on, okay, where are you right now? Where would you like to be? So maybe in the self-love, like maybe I'm doubting myself or I'm blaming myself and I really want to just really love and accept myself, right? So if we're moving from one to the other, we always ask, like, what's your intention, right? Always. We're always getting in touch with that intention. And then we always ask you, like, what's an action step? What's an action step that you'd like to take to really call this in for yourself, right? And so there is no right or wrong action step. And actually, if anybody is giving you 1, 2, 3, like this is what you're going to do, there's a really good chance that it's not right for you. That's why when you take like a course or some sort of class or direction where it's just like this, and especially when it comes to like your life or, you know, how you can achieve this goal or this dream, if a lot of times that is set up by somebody who, okay, this is how I did it. I did this and this and this and this. And if those things are less concrete, like maybe it's like, okay, the first step is I learned how to honor myself. The second step is, those are perfectly good because that's subjective, right? I learn how to honor myself different than you learn how to honor yourself, different than somebody else learns how to honor themselves. And so really, when you're working with somebody, you want somebody to help you connect with those answers for yourself. Those action steps are super unique for each and every one of us. When I think back to, I've done this in a lot of my programs, but especially in my miscarriage support programs, we do a ceremony for the babies that we've lost. And I'm gonna, in my sessions, I talk to my client about how I did my ceremony, right? I wrote down letters. I read the letters, I burned them, I let the pain go. I watched those painful things like float up into the air, and I explained my ceremony. And then I really talked to my client about like, what would this look like for you? It doesn't have to look the same as it does me. And to be honest, not a single person's ceremony has looked the same as for me. I've had women like float their shredded paper down a paper airplane or a paper boat down a river, or like releasing balloons or, whatever is right for them. And so just know that if somebody's giving you an XYZ very specific action plan, that really could have worked for them, and it's very likely not going to work for you. So know that you know which actions are best for your own intentions. Okay, is this making sense, guys? How's everybody doing? Okay, and then number 3. This is probably where most people get stuck in this process. So I know that I titled this 3 easy steps. This is the hard step. This is the hardest step, right? And so step number 3 is belief. I've done a lot of reading. I've done a lot of watching documentaries and things like that. But I think the most intriguing things that I've seen are books that are written about the placebo effect. So I figure most of us are familiar with this, but what they find is that there's a large number of people that when they're given a sugar pill and they believe that that sugar pill is going to help them with whatever disease they're experiencing, there's a certain percentage of people who get better just with the sugar pill alone. And so this tells us that our minds are so capable of not just healing, not just physical healing, mental healing, manifestation, accomplishing our goals, accomplishing our dreams, right? All of this, all of these things are things that are hardwired and come from our minds. So understanding kind of this placebo effect really helped me to understand how powerful the mind really is and how much we can control just with our beliefs. And so many times we believe something and then the situations in our life are just confirmations of the belief. So I'm going to give you an example. When I was dating before my last husband, I was dating for about a year before I met him. My cat is throwing things around the house, around the room. I was dating for about a year before I met him. And every time I would like someone and they would ghost me or they would tell me that, you know, it wasn't a good fit and they didn't want to talk to me anymore. Every time I was like, see, I'm not pretty enough. Because my insecurity, my belief is that I wasn't pretty enough for somebody that I liked to like me back. And back then I wasn't doing belief work or anything like that. And so every time a guy decided he didn't want to be with me, I'd be like, I just wasn't pretty enough. But we might have gone on like 4 or 5 dates. So thinking back at it now, not having that belief that I'm not pretty enough, and really looking at it objectively, like, if I wasn't pretty enough, they wouldn't have gone on the first date, or at least the second, right? It was probably a mismatch in personalities. It was probably a mismatch in beliefs or ideas or something like that, you know? And so what I am able to see very clearly when I look back at that is I just kept perpetuating this idea that I wasn't pretty enough. I was finding fake validation for that belief. Okay, so back to the 3 steps. It's believing that whatever you've set the intention to is going to occur for you. It's having that belief that you have the magic, right? Having the belief that your magic is powerful and that your mind is powerful and that you can do and achieve these things. And so I'm going to go through them again, but have any of you guys experienced something like that? Have you something like this? Have you set an intention, had an action around that intention, believed that you'd be capable of achieving it and achieving it? I think even like going through school, right? Like you go through your senior year and you have an intention of graduating, you take action, you do your assignments, you believe that you're actually going to graduate if you do your assignments, and then it happens, right? So it may seem simplistic, and it is simplistic. And I think where we usually get stuck in this process is that belief, right? So if the belief is self-love, which is so much more abstract than graduating high school, right? Like we know a lot of people that have graduated high school. We believe that if we do our work that it's going to happen for us. But maybe we don't have a whole lot of role models who have shown us that they love themselves. Maybe we don't believe that we're worthy of love. Maybe we don't believe that it's possible for us. And so this is where we get stuck. And I think something to keep in mind too is the things that we're working on right now are the things we're still not believing. If we've set an intention, if we've taken some sort of action and it's not happened for us, we're getting stuck in step 3. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. Amber says yes. Yes. I don't know what that means, Amber, but thank you. Christy says, I haven't, but it's coming soon. These steps will come into play. I love it. And so really what I think, like, what I really want to say for this is just, if there's an area that you're working on, if you've set the intention before and you've done the action before, there's still a belief that's in your way. And so let's talk a little bit about shifting beliefs. There's a lot of tools to shift beliefs, right? There's affirmations. There are, the repatterning of our brain, really looking at where the original belief came from. There's this technique that I do in my sessions. It's like uncovering a belief. Sometimes you like go through this and you're like, what? I didn't even know that I believed that. Because it's there, it's in your mind, but it's maybe not something you're conscious of. Sid says, I haven't, but I'm feeling really inspired. Everybody has used these 3 steps. If you've achieved anything, you have used these 3 steps. So yeah, start to think about, like write down in your journal, intention, action, belief. And write down like 5 things that you've accomplished in your life. And then think about, oh, what was my intention when I accomplished this? What was my action? What was my belief? I definitely need to shift my belief because it's holding me back 100%. Anytime that we're not achieving something and we're making an action. I mean, if we decide that, if you're like, I'm gonna run a 5K, that's your intention, but you never put in the actions that you need to run the 5K, I mean, you won't do it. But if you're setting that intention and you're setting the action, and you have that firm belief, it's going to happen for you every time. Amber sent mind blown emojis. You guys are amazing. So does anybody have any questions? We could talk a little bit more about shifting beliefs. I think that, like I said, like really getting in touch to like where that belief started. And something that I do with my clients is to go back to, when is the first time you started to believe that, right? So maybe it's, I'm not good enough. This is a very common belief that I think that we all have to work through. Because I think it's really common for us as kids to pick up this as a message. And so I'm going to use it for an example. But say like I feel like I'm not good enough to earn $1 million or whatever. So then you're like, okay, when was the first time? You can even like feel it in your body, right? So like, I don't feel good enough. Like feel where that is in your body and how that feels in your body. And then just like check in with yourself and like, when is the first time that I felt this? When is the first time that I felt this feeling? And then you can trace it back to that one moment in time when you decided that you weren't good enough. And you could say, oh, I was just a kid. I was interpreting something that was going on in my life to mean that I'm not good enough, but that's not what it meant. It meant that my parent wasn't doing the things that they needed to do as a parent. It means that my parents were not perfect and they did or said something. It means that, I wasn't being cared for the way that I needed to be. Whatever that is, find a different explanation. Take that belief, I'm not good enough, and say, this didn't happen because I'm not good enough. I was good enough. This happened because of some other reason. When we change those stories, we change the beliefs. Yep, absolutely. It's the missing piece, right? It's the hardest part of the equation. But I really believe that like with work and with being conscious of these beliefs, once you have an intention to uncover those beliefs, right? And you make the action to uncover them, I think that that can be really magical as well, because that helps us change who we are completely. I am not anywhere near the same person that started this journey 4 years ago. I'm completely different. I'm completely different. I don't have the same insecurities. I remember, Amber, you can vouch for this. I wouldn't have even been on camera like this 4 years ago with you guys. You know, it would have terrified me. The idea of being on like a show like Big Brother was like, oh my God, I would never do that. And now, like, I would, that would be awesome to be on Big Brother. Maybe I could win $500,000. So yeah, once we start to make the shifts in the belief, then we can start to really accomplish what we're looking for in our lives and start to make those changes in who we are and who we are showing up as in the world. So I'm curious what you're taking away from this video today. I'm curious, like, what you got from this and what you're taking away. Is there anything specifically that you're going to apply this to over the next day or two? There's another little mini step that I'm going to throw in right now while I'm waiting for you guys to answer, and that's letting go of things. So, for example, I'm going to continue to use the example of self-love. If you want to call in self-love for yourself, you may have to let go of self-doubt. You may have to let go of, you know, ideas that are taking you away from self-love. And so really to getting in touch with what you need to let go of too. When you're trying to bring something in, you always have to let something go. You have to clear the clutter in some way or another. You have to let something go to let something else in. So that's like a little mini step in there too. But that's, to me, like, that's less important, right? Like, you might have had, when you were graduating high school, for example, you might have had to, like, maybe not go out with your friends on a night because you had an assignment due. And you did that pretty naturally, you know, like letting go of, you know, hanging out with your friends on a Friday night because you had to finish a project. But I feel like that step is maybe less important than the other three. Well, for the next couple days, show self-love and worry about myself for once. Yes! It's all about you. Absolutely. I remember feeling really selfish when I first started leaning into self-love. Really feeling like that meant that I wasn't caring about other people, but truly I couldn't care about other people until I cared about myself. At that point, it was just sacrificing myself for other people. That wasn't caring, right? I'd love to hear any other ways you guys are carrying this forward. Any aha, insight, appreciation. Feel free to leave it down below. Oh yeah, and just as a side note, I'm offering $20 full moon readings. It's a 30-minute reading for $20, which is a huge discount from my regular rate, today and tomorrow. All you have to do is message me. Completely. Okay, guys. So that's it for today. Your 3 steps to magic and miracles. Let me know. Nobody answered my question. Are you guys interested in learning about spellcasting in the group? Let me know down below. Let me know your aha and insight. And I'm going to go. Talk to you guys later.